this video, I want to share with you guys how the most expensive detail I've ever done was actually done on a Toyota RAV4. Now, this particular customer who owns the Toyota RAV4 is getting it detailed because she is selling this car privately. Well, if you've ever sold a car privately, you probably know that it's kind of a hassle and most people don't really want to do it. There's these two things working against each other. You have this price tag in your head that you know you want to get for the car, but you don't really want to have to negotiate and push and get through a lot of people and post it online and do all the things that it takes to get there. And so the simple deal that I struck with this customer was to say, listen, how about this? Leave the Toyota here for 3 days because not only am I going to detail it, but it gets to sit in this studio. Tell me what price tag you want for the car, and if I can get over that price tag without you doing anything except for signing over the title, how about you just pay for the detail in that way? If I sell the car for more than what you want for it, I'll just keep the difference. Now, part of the reason why I wanted to do this is because in the new detail studio, it's a great place to showcase a car to people who want to come look at something, and it's kind of like product placement at a grocery store or at a department store. When you put out on the shelf in front in a really good looking way what you want the person to buy, you often sell more of that thing. So in this particular situation, this customer wanted $10,000 for the Toyota RAV4. It had about 180,000 miles on it, but it was in really, really good condition and it just needed a really good detail. Come to find out, we actually sold it for $11,000. So the total for this detail, that was one of the most basic details I've ever done, was actually $1,000 price tag. But the customer, of course, had no problem paying it just because it was the difference between what they wanted and what they got. Now let me walk through the 3 parts of this detail that I focused most of my attention on and tell you why. The first area is the interior carpets and leather seats. The reason why this is the first area that I focus most of my attention on whenever I'm doing a detail on a car that is about to be sold is because it's the first thing people look at when they see the interior of a car. Now, part of the reason why that is simply because it makes up probably the most surface area of the interior of a car. Yes, the dashboard and the door panels and the radio buttons are seen, but what really draws people in are the leather seats or the upholstery and the carpet. It's what makes up the most surface area, and when those things are in really good condition, you kind of feel like the car is new in some sense despite how many miles are on it. So we stripped down this leather really well, detailed it out, did the same thing to the car carpets, which had a ton of pet hair on them, and the main thing I focused on with the carpets is the floor mats. The reason for that is because if you have even disgusting floor mats that get detailed and pressure washed and blasted and look new, it makes people feel like the car is new. There's something about those removable mats that give that new car feeling. So what I will often do with customers who are selling their car, if those mats cannot be restored, which in this case they could, is I will throw them away and get new mats off of Amazon or from Walmart or someplace like that that are kind of a thick carpet. They're a nice mat. They're not the cheap kind, but we just spend, $100 to $200 putting in new mats just because that alone pushes people over the edge with a purchase decision in the moment. Now, the second thing I focus on is the car paint in the form of claying and sealing. I make sure I rarely ever do like a ceramic coating or some long-term protection unless there's a specific reason to do it. All we want to do is clay the paint and shine the paint with some sort of simple sealant or wax, something like Meguiar's Synthetic Express Wax, Technician's Choice, Bead Maker, something that'll just put a shine on the paint, and it's very easy to apply. The reason claying is so necessary is because not only, of course, is it going to make the wax or sealant look that much glossier because it goes on and comes off well, but when people touch the paint and it's been clayed, it has that glassy, smooth feeling. There's something that happens again in a customer's mind when they're like, man, I gotta have this car. Now, those first 2 things are more general, and I do that on every car that's going to be sold privately, but this third one is a bit more specific to this car because not all cars have exterior black plastic trim that runs around the entire vehicle. If there is a lot of trim on a car, this is probably the most important thing you can focus on before the car is sold privately. I took McKee's graphene ceramic coating, and you can take most retail grade ceramic coatings and do this, or a specific dedicated black trim restoration product and restore the black trim with it. Just like when you replace the floor mats on the interior, when you do the black trim on the exterior, it makes people feel like they are buying a literal new car, even though of course intellectually they know that it is used. Now, the last thing that I want to point out for the sake of the professional detailer is that all of these things that I'm talking about taking to the next level, the black trim via restoration, the floor mats via restoring or replacing, and claying and sealing the paint, these are all very easy things to do. So because the customer is not keeping the car, I'm not trying to make the ceramic coating on the black trim last the longest it can possibly last. I'm not trying to put a ceramic coating on the exterior so that it serves as the next 3 years of protection for the car paint. And I'm not trying to put some sort of leather ceramic coating on the leather seats or any of that stuff, right? It's just being sold. And so what I want to do is bring as much curb appeal to that situation as possible. And so for example, when I'm restoring the black trim with the McKee's graphene ceramic coating, it's as simple as pouring some ceramic coating on my applicator, wiping it onto the black trim, and then wiping it off with my microfiber towel. I'm not trying to do the most intense thing possible. Again, I'm just trying to raise that visual appeal of the car as much as possible. And of course, it's adding value to the vehicle because we are putting a ceramic coating on the black trim, and it is going to last a long time. So guys, there you go. As a pro detailer, that is how I max out my price for a basic interior and exterior detail. If you're interested in any of the products and tools I talked about here, I will put them in the YouTube description box below. And if you got some value here as a pro detailer or even as a consumer waiting to sell your car, hit the like button because it's the only way I know that you actually extracted some value from this video. And as always, from Luke here at Wilson Auto Detailing, keep working hard, and I'll see you in the next video.